Hey everyone, welcome. Jennifer DeClaire here, your bar exam mentor, here for our weekly Thursday lives. And I just want to tell you guys, first of all, thank you for bearing with me until 12:35. We usually go live at noon. However, you know what? Right now, I have just the frank realization over what's happened the last couple of days that pregnancy brain is real. It is. I'm missing left and right, well established, long term, long standing appointments. And now I totally understand why the lady boss lawyers that I associate with always get a backup while they're pregnant to look over every single document before they ever file it, to look over every single file before they go to court, and to backstop all their work. And I thought, who would do that? But now, knowing how much is at stake and how real this thing called pregnancy brain is, I totally get why, as a responsibility to their clients and to protect their license, that they would do that. So I would totally recommend that you think about that if you're ever walking into this phase of life while practicing law. But anywho, we are hopping into understanding exactly why isolation is not the solution if you want to do well, whether in law school or on the bar exam. It is something that's promoted, but it can actually be very detrimental to your progress in school and on the bar exam, especially if you fit into one specific category of people that I'm going to be talking about. Now, the category of people that I'm going to be talking about, you'll find out if you're that person if you join in and take the What's Your Study Type quiz. This quiz is really important. When people take this quiz, they are eye-opened and blown away with what the results say and how well it fits with what's been going on, and the tips on how to change things makes life so much easier. Oh my goodness, now is when they have clarity on not only what to change, but if those things have been hard to change because of their study type, now they know exactly what to get help in so that things can be different on their next bar exam. And if you haven't taken the bar exam yet, then I suggest that you take this quiz so that you walk in eyes wide open. If you want to take the quiz or you need to be directed to where it is, type it into the comments and I will share that with you now. If you're here live, go ahead and say hi. I love to see who's here, who's watching with me. I want to help you understand exactly why you should not isolate for the bar. You should not cut off social media. You should not do so many other things. I'm not going to say should. Should is a shaming word, right? Have you ever heard that? Should is a shaming word. Let me know if you've heard that, yes or no. But there are reasons on the other side. Okay, it can be dangerous. There are reasons on the other side of why isolating is not okay. Now, we have some February bar takers in here coming up, and we have some people that are not sure if they're going to be taking the February bar. Either way, you're in a good place. Listen closely. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know about not isolating in order to avoid negativity and in order to stay concentrating, but what to do instead. And at the end, I'll give you the opportunity to grab a hold of tools that are available for you to implement so that instead of isolating, you can become a stronger person inside and out and not even think about negativity and not even be distracted in that way. Who's here for that? Let me know if you want to know about how to pull that off during your bar exam. That's something. Okay, so here's where we stand. At this point in time, if you are going in to take the bar exam and you're starting your bar prep, your thought process is that of everybody else's. I'm going to go into my library corner in my room at home or wherever else it may be, lock myself away and study for as many hours as I possibly can to get all this information into my head. Here's what's happening. One, if you're not studying in the right way for you, which I'll show you how to discover whether you're studying in the right way. But if you're not studying in the right way for you, you're going to be burnt out halfway through, and when it's time for you to do the real stuff that actually works, you're not going to have any energy left. Okay, that's number one. So not only are you spending 12 hours in a room isolated, you're not even getting a good study session in. Okay, number two is if you are in the study type community. So who's a community study type here? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. You know that you are a community person. If you rank highly in community on our study typer quiz, then you actually need interaction for motivation, right? And it is true, the main problem is that such interaction can sometimes cut into your priorities and your studies. And that's simply because for community people, because they thrive on interaction, oftentimes their boundary setting abilities are not what they need to be in order to put yourself first, even when other people need you. Community-oriented people are often needed when they're really not. And especially if you have the wherewithal to go to and through law school, you've proven yourself very capable. So it's very likely that you may be considered a family matriarch or the go-to solver or a stalwart of some sort. And so if you are a community person, there are resources to help you build up that inner you. The inner you who not only can say no, but can decipher when to say no and not feel guilty about it. If that's you, then you need to grab a hold of the resources that I'm going to mention at the end. So the first thing is this: studying all day in isolation really puts you in a fishbowl to where you don't realize that what you're doing is ineffective and is going to cause you to fail your bar exam. If you could be around a group of other bar takers and get perspective, you would realize, oh, what I'm doing is not so good. But not just any group. You need to be where you have leadership. You need to be where it's not blind leading the blind. Whole bunch of people who haven't passed the bar telling you what to do to pass the bar. You need to be where you have seen proven success and people are moving from failing the bar to passing because they took specific steps that are repeatable for you too. Not just any old blanket steps, they need to fit for your study type. Go take the study typer quiz. Comment below if you need it. So the first thing is studying in isolation gives you a myopic view of what you're doing. And that by itself is detrimental because you could feel like you're behind. You could feel like you're not making the progress you should or not where you should be. That's why so many people thrive with tutors. You can go to a big group and say, hey, I feel like I'm so behind. But really and truly, you need that person in that place of expertise and experience and authority to look at you and say you're fine. It doesn't help to hear it from somebody who's failed the bar 9 times, right? You need to be able to trust from someone who has accomplished what you've accomplished or what you're trying to accomplish. You need to be able to trust from them that I'm okay where I am at. And that kind of peace that you get really allays a lot of your fears and allows you to get your energy back so that you can get back to studying. That happens every day inside of our mentoring circle, where every week inside our mentoring circle where people come in with their worries as they're studying for the bar and they explain, hey, you know, I feel behind, or I'm not getting this subject, or my family is doing X, Y, or Z, is getting in the way, or I don't know why I just can't get to studying. And we help them. We coach them through every single one of those issues. And it works so much better than trying to struggle through on your own, or calling the 1 or 2 people that already passed and don't know what you're going through, or hopping into that group full of people who haven't passed and getting all that, honestly, veiled negativity, right? Do you really want to take advice, well-meaning though it may be, from a bunch of people who have not done what you're trying to do, right? And this is why a lot of the people in these circles stay in those circles for years. Okay, So if you want to ace your bar, you're going to need to make sure you don't have a myopic vision of what's happening in your bar. So you want to get perspective from people who are not daily going on that same catch-22 circle of study, fail, repeat. Okay. You want to get yourself into a group where there's leadership, there's expertise, there's authority to lead you through and down a path that you may not have walked before, but they have. The next thing is, if you are a community study type, yeah, you're going to need to guard your time and put yourself first, but the guilt kills. It really does. And one of the main wins that I heard after bar taking from community-oriented people who are in our bar exam mentoring circle was, oh my goodness, like I was able to just tell them, no, it's not going to happen this way. This is how it's going to happen instead. And they figured themselves out. And you know, there are two people actually. And one person, she said, you know, I realized that they always knew how to take care of the problem. It's just that they always handed it off to me because I was always the one willing to jump up and do it. And I always felt obligated to do it like nobody else would. And once I said no, somebody else stepped up. Isn't that something? But it's one thing to know what to do, it's another thing to actually do it. And to release that need to jump in every time, she had to work on all the stuff in the middle that stood between, I know I need to put my stuff as a priority, but I just have to be there for my family. I can't say no. They're depending on me. To, they figured themselves out. There is a path to walk, right? That path is not easy. If it were, a whole lot more people would be passing the bar exam, because unfortunately, sadly so, I've seen the majority of people who are not passing are either high community or high certainty. Go take the study typing quiz if you haven't taken it before. You will understand what I'm saying, okay? So if you need to take that quiz, say something in the comments so that we can get you the link to take the study typer quiz. High community or high certainty people have issues with bar. Certainty people, you have a different set of issues that we'll talk about in a totally different live, okay? But if you are that person, isolating is most detrimental to you because you do need human interaction. You just don't need it from the people who will be distracting you from the bar and asking you to put their needs first. You need it from a personal tutor who's going to be your cheerleader as well. You need it from a group of other bar exam takers who are also positive minded, who are also concentrating on their bar exam, and who are going to move you forward with their thoughts and their speech, etc. Right? And even when they do ask you for a favor, let's say, it has to do with the bar and is helping you to help them. You need instead, and Esther says she'd love a link to the quiz, so let's go ahead and make sure that Esther gets that, Ashley. You need, instead of isolating, you need that leadership, you need that group support, you need to basically replace your heart resources away from people who are distracting you and towards people who are doing the same thing you're doing and care about the same end goal that you care about. But most importantly, you need to conduct your communications with your fellow bar takers in a way that doesn't leave you behind, because community people are really Three Musketeers like, and everybody should be in on this win, right? And the fact is that you've seen it, especially if you're here retaking the bar. Other people win and you end up celebrating with them but not getting your own win, and they move on and leave you behind. It's because community people are real givers. And so what you want to do is not be in a study group or in a partnership where you're the one that's doing all the giving. And how can you make sure of that? Well, I do recommend having an accountability buddy if you're a community person, because you need that. Isolation is detrimental. You do need to communicate with somebody even on a daily basis if you could, but you want it to not be a runaway conversation about all their problems and now you're helping them with all their issues. Does that sound familiar, community people? You want it instead to be a very fruitful and and fruitful and productive conversation about what's happened with your studying yesterday, today, and what do you commit to do tomorrow. And you want to go back and forth between each other and be able to make sure that you've supported each other, you've held each other accountable, and you have a clear plan for what's happening the next day. That, and how to do that, and how to get an accountability partner to do that with you, is all inside our Conquerors. Is it our Conquerors mindset? No, that's Bar Exam Ready. And it's called Partners That Work. Bar Exam Ready is our tool that we use to make sure that you fit your study time in between your working life, single mom life, working dad life, law firm life, whatever it is that you have going on while you're trying to study for the bar exam. You'll be able to merge the two and still get effective study sessions in. The Bar Exam Ready also ensures that you're able to study the way that your brain needs, so that you don't spend 4 hours doing one thing that doesn't work for you. And by the time it's time for you to do the next thing that might actually work for you, now you're too tired to keep studying. You need to take a nap, right? I spoke to someone just yesterday. She just finished Bar Exam Ready. She wrote me and said, wow, this was so helpful. These are my next steps. This is what I'm doing with my bar exam plan now. And I asked her, I said, what was the difference? And she says, I can totally see how when I was doing, and she named a big box bar review, she said, I spent the first half of the day just listening to lectures, and that's not what I needed at all. And by the time I was done, when it was time for me to do the part that now I know this is the part I do need, she says, by the time it was time for me to do that part, I was too tired. And so I didn't do it. Or I would take a nap and get to it later and feel bad about it and drag myself to it. And she did poorly on the exam twice. And if she had known, oh my goodness, I actually need to make those other activities a priority because of the way my brain works. If she had known that and she did those first while she was fresh, she found some other way to take in the information besides 4 hours of lectures that did not work with her brain style at all. Her brain was dead by the time she was done with that because her brain style did not work with that, right? And she learned all this about herself inside Bar Exam Ready. She now understands completely why it's so important to know yourself before you go into the study prep, into bar prep. So Bar Exam Ready is a tool that helps you to get to know yourself inside and out, so you know exactly what works for you and what doesn't, what in your life will be a hindrance, what in your life needs to be adjusted so that you can pass the bar. Okay, so I have the link for Bar Exam Ready, and I'm going to put it in the comments if you would like, so that you can have that real life solution to apply to your bar study, and it fits with any bar prep that you choose to take. Or if you're a self-study person, it creates a schedule for you almost automatically that will allow you to, within minutes, have a tutor quality style bar exam study plan. Either way, whether you choose to apply the knowledge to your purchased bar prep course, or you choose to do self-study, now that you know so much about yourself, you're actually in an advantage to create your own study plan, because it'll be as if a personal tutor is doing it for you, as opposed to taking the generic stuff from the big companies and forcing yourself through it because, oh, I got to do 80% of it to be able to get a refund, right? So if you want the link to that, go ahead and drop in the comments, I want BER, right? And I'll send you the link where you can learn more about Bar Exam Ready and get yourself past a lot of these hurdles that are blocking people from passing the bar. If you graduated from law school, you're smart enough to pass the bar, okay? You have gone too far to stop now. So don't let 3 little hurdles from lack of information and knowledge keep you from crossing the finish line. Get Bar Exam Ready, get into our groups here, find out what you're missing, and be done with this journey already. That's what I have for you today, guys. I will see you next week. Be certain to weave in those supports that I gave you instead of isolating from the bar exam. And if negativity is your thing, if that's what's getting to you, then stay tuned for our next lives. Come into our mentoring circle, because this is the place for positive and helpful thinking towards the bar exam that actually moves the needle forward. That's what I've got for you guys. Bye bye for now. Take care.